Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be going over 10 things that I have learned while I have been breastfeeding. I have notes on my phone right here just to make sure I didn't forget any of the points that I wanted to make. So the first item that I have is it can take a couple days, I believe up to 5 days before your milk comes in. Now, I thought that even if your milk didn't come in, you will have the colostrum. Recently, I have learned that that doesn't always happen. That's not always enough for your baby. So sometimes you will have to supplement in the hospital if your baby is not getting enough to eat. Along with that though, most insurances will pay for you to see a lactation specialist, and I would highly suggest doing that, whether it's checking the latch. I know what we did, we went and they weighed her before, and then I fed her and they weighed her after, just kind of see how much she was getting. It helped a lot. We had to do like suck training and things that I would have never, known had I not gone to see the lactation specialist. The second thing that I have is that stress, periods, returning to work, if you breast and bottle feed, if you give a bottle and don't pump, so many things can affect your supply not being hydrated enough. I pump and breastfeed, and when I first had my daughter, my husband's mom had came into town and I was letting her give the baby bottles, and I was not pumping every time she did that, and I saw a drastic decrease in my milk supply. It did, regulate after about a day or two of me breastfeeding and pumping and things like that on the right schedule, but it can be affected. So the third thing that I have is that my lactation specialist told me your milk supply will peak or be the most that it will be, unless you're an overproducer, at around 2 or 3 weeks. So at that point, I was pumping about 7 to 10 ounces out of each side, like every time that I pumped. So we went multiple times just to make sure that either I wasn't an overproducer or, to get, because we were doing it to weigh her, to get an actual weight. I would highly suggest, if you do plan on pumping when you go back to work, store during that time. The fourth thing that I have is I did not know at night your milk will have more melatonin in it, like a natural melatonin for your baby. So I have heard that if you do pump, not only label the date, but I've seen label it AM and PM, which I have not. I have a freezer full and I have not done that. I mean, that'd be a good idea. So I guess you don't want to give them an AM and the PM. So the fifth thing, I didn't really know that there was multiple positions to breastfeed in. I just assumed it was, the cradle hold. Everybody does that. We're good. When I was in the hospital, they told me that that is an advanced hold, and they recommend doing the football hold. Now, I could not get a hold of the football. I couldn't figure it out. I just do the cradle and we're good. All right, now the sixth thing I have is that breastfeeding should not hurt. So growing up, I was always told like, oh, you are not gonna wanna breastfeed. It hurts so bad. It shouldn't hurt. If it does hurt, there are multiple reasons, and it doesn't mean that you need to stop breastfeeding. But it could be the baby. Most of the time it's that the baby is just not latched on right. It could be that, if your nipples are dry, cracked. I mean, there could be an adjustment period where it will be uncomfortable sometimes, but it shouldn't be unbearable. It could be thrush. Like, I didn't know that we could get thrush. I thought it was only the baby. The next thing is I was told that nipple confusion is a myth. And more so has to do if you breast and bottle feed, they say you need to pace feed your baby, and when they say that, they mean they want you to pretty much hold your baby, you know, sitting up. You'll hold their neck like this, and when you give them the bottle, you just tip it to where like enough milk will go in the nipple to where they're not getting air, but they're getting enough to drink, but it's not coming out fast. And they also told me to use pretty much the smallest nipple hole size that whatever bottle brand that we use has. Now, like I said earlier, I do bottle and breastfeed. We pace fed consistently for about 2 or 3 weeks. After that, we didn't, but my daughter doesn't have an issue. I mean, she relaxes while she eats her bottle. She does not have an issue going back to the breast. She actually prefers it. So I mean, whatever works for you. The next one, now this one really scared me. Your milk ducts are not only, you know, right by like the areola part, but they are throughout your breast, and they can go into like this area. When my milk first came in, I was so engorged because at that point I wasn't pumping like I should. I was told to start pumping early by my pediatrician, but I wasn't pumping like I should. So I wasn't emptying, and it was like filling right here, and I had a lump, and I was gonna go to the hospital because it was kind of sore to the touch, and I just couldn't figure out what it was. But when I started pumping empty, I would notice it would be gone, I would be fine, and it would only happen if I was too full. So that can happen. Don't be scared. Nothing is wrong with you. You're probably just either very full, or, you know, it's just kind of not clogged, but it's just kind of like sitting in that area. The next thing is that babies do cluster feed. It is normal. It does not mean that you're not producing enough, your baby's not getting enough. They all cluster feed. Now, my baby is only 2 months, so I don't know past this point, you know, when she will cluster feed, but I think she has. I mean, obviously when she was first born, she did. And then she's sitting right here, that's why I keep looking this way. And I feel like maybe once since then she has. Yeah, I'm pretty sure just maybe twice since she's been in the last 2 months. Now, the next thing that I have, it doesn't really have to do with nipple confusion, but pacifiers. So we chose to give our baby a pacifier from, you know, the day we were in the hospital. But we were told, do not give them this type of pacifier, like the slanted one. You want to give them, we use the MAM pacifiers. You want to give them ones like this that are round, or like we started with a Nano BB, because the slanted ones will teach your baby really just sucking wrong. So when you're breastfeeding, you don't want your nipple to come out looking like, they call it like a tube of lipstick. That means that they're latching wrong, they're sucking wrong. You don't want it. You don't want them to get used to having that. So don't use the slanted ones. Now, that was my 10, but I did have one more thing I wanted to say. The Boppy pillow, we have this one. I love it. We use it for tummy time. She lounges in it. Sometimes she'll take a nap lounging in it. But I bought it for breastfeeding, and it just didn't work for that. I brought it to the hospital, and I don't know if my baby was just tiny, but it just didn't work for us. It was in the way. It was inconvenient. Now, if it works for you, that is great. But for me, it didn't work, but I still am glad that I got it because you get so many other uses out of it. And that is all I have. If you guys want me to go over more things I have learned, because I feel like honestly I could keep going forever, let me know down in the comments if you want me to make another video. Let me know things that you guys have learned. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.